Let me just make sure I have that Gemara and this Gemara. B. There you go. Okay. Vayislach-dina. Let's just jump right into it. Vayislach-dina bat Leah. Dina, the daughter of Leah, goes out to check out the girls of the land. Vayal ota Shechem ben Hamor, and Shechem, the son of Hamor, sees her. He takes her. He rapes her. He sleeps with her. What does it say? The exact words. It says, "Vayislach-dina bat Leah, vayal ota Shechem ben Hamor ahivi." Every word's important. Vayal ota Shechem ben Hamor. Shechem, the son of Hamor, sees her. Hahivi, the Hivi, the ancient people. Nesi ha'aretz, the prince of the land. Vayikach ota, he takes her. Vayishkav ota, he sleeps with her. Vayaneha, he pains her. Aneha, makes her he afflicts her, gives her pain. Vatidbak nasho b'dina bat Yaakov, and his nefesh was clinging to Dina, the daughter of Yaakov. Vayahav tanara, he loved her. Vaydaber alev nara, and he spoke to her heart. What does Yaakov do when he finds out? Yaakov hears kitime et Dina bito, that they defiled his daughter Dina. Interesting choice of words. Kitime et Dina bito. Doesn't use the word rape. His sons were out in the field. And he was quiet until they came back. That's also interesting. Why was he quiet? Yaakov. He didn't say anything. That's like the worst news a father can receive. When the sons come home, the sons come home, wow, they were furious. They were very angry. It was a desecration. It was, what's a good word for nevala? It was desecration, I guess you could say. Not something not nice that should not happen. And then afterwards, they make the plan. They say, hey, you got to have Brit Milah, or we're not going to marry. We're not going to get involved with you guys. And on the third day, it says, Biotam Koavim, the two brothers of Yaakov, Shimon and Levi, Ahedina Ish Habo, they took their swords and they came to the city. Vayavo al Ha'id Betah. How do you translate that, Mordechai? Vayavo al Ha'id Betah. What does that mean? They came to the city, Betah. What is Betah? Huh? For short? Like Betah, when someone says in Hebrew, Betah. So has the Torah ever used that word when it tells a story? Yeah. We have to talk about that word. And they take care of business. And Hamor and Shechem beno harugu d'fi'hara. They kill Hamor, they kill Shechem, they kill everybody. They take Dina and they leave. Vayomer Yaakov v'Shimon v'Levi achartem oti. Yaakov says to these two boys, achartem oti, you made me dirty. You sullied my reputation, is a good one. Lehavi sheni b'yoshev ha'aretz. What's people going to say now? How am I supposed to have relations with people around me? And they respond to him and they say, are they gonna make our sister a prostitute? And what does he answer them? Zero. He doesn't answer them. No response. But Dina, that she says, the Gemara says, everyone says. But Dina went out to check out the girls. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, they say. Just like the mother went out, Leah went out, so too the daughter went out. It seems pretty harsh and not nice to both girls to Leah and to Dina. Furthermore, where do we see that? Yeah, great, exactly. Furthermore, what exactly did Leah do wrong? The only time it says in the Torah that Dina Leah, when Leah went out, is when she just made the deal with the dudaim, the jasmine flowers. Rahel, Leah's son Reuven found these flowers, the dudaim, the yasmin flowers, as she said, jasmine flowers. They're good for fertility, and he brings them home to his mother Leah. Rahel says, "Hey, I want some of these fertility flowers." And she makes a deal. And she says, Rahel says, "I'll give you my night with Yaakov tonight. I'm supposed to be with him tonight. You have him, trade for the flowers." She said, "You got yourself a deal." So she purchased a night with her husband. And then it says, Yaakov came home from the field. And Dinah came out to him saying, "Hey, don't take that road to her tent. Take this road to my tent. I have to let you know that I bought you for tonight." And then she had the Yisachar out of that relation. What's so bad about that? She's going to her husband, the spur of mitzvah, to build a shevet. Why are we so critical of her? What did Dinah do to deserve this? That's the $1,000,000 question. And this is where I say it's going to get into territory where people get upset. When a girl, God forbid, should never happen, gets raped, does the victim have any blame? What does she do to deserve this? Or is she completely innocent, or is it a gray area in between? Right, so people will be upset if they hear you say that. A girl should stay in the house. It's very emotional. Do you blame her at all? Is she blameless? I think as with anything, each extreme is never the right way to go. But what did she do to deserve this? Was a daughter of Leah really going to check out the girls of the land? The daughter of Yaakov Avinu, to check out the girls of the land? We believe this? I'm gonna go to a party at a club in the city Shechem.
Isn't that what Yaakov did with
He put her in a box. This is the classic, be careful with your kids. Don't put them too tight because they're going to break out of the box. And he put her in a box yesterday, and she says, "I'm out of the box. I'm going to the parties." He didn't want her to go to Esav. Do we believe on the surface level that Dinah went out to go party? It's the daughter of Yaakov Avinu. And what, huh? She wasn't a teenager, though. She was 8 years old. But maybe back then, that's like a teenager. But Yaakov Avinu. When I used to work with Christians, coworkers, and employees, they used to have a term, PK. PK? You know this one?
No.
Pastor's kid. That's what he used to say. PK, the pastor's kid. Oh, that's going to be a bad kid. It's like the rabbi's kid. Yaakov is quiet. How could any father be quiet? This is the worst thing in the world that can happen, God forbid, a zillion times over. I kill somebody, break their neck with my bare hands if they touch my daughter. It's quiet. And then what happened after this story to Dinah? Very good. Very good. There are commentaries that make a connection. And so we have to understand on a deep level, because of these questions, I want your permission to now give the kabbalistic answer that can hopefully answer some of these questions. There's a Gemara Baba Batra that says as follows. Let's catch this person up real quick. Because it is 9:15. Okay. So the question is, when Dinah went out and got raped by Shechem, what is the deep meaning of the story? And so I'm going to explain to you based on the Arizal, which is clarified by a lot of different rabbis. The Hida and the Ben Ish Hai are my main sources. The Gemara Baba Batra, page 15b says, Rabbi Natan Omer, Iyov bimeh malchut sheva haya. Iyov. Iyov is one of the most famous people that suffered in this world, right? Job. He suffered. He had everything. He lost everything. He ended up getting sarat. He was sick. Job had a horrible life. The question is, when did Iyov live? And so there's many opinions in the Gemara. I'm going to read you a few of them. Iyov bimeh malchut sheva haya. Either he was in the kingdom of Sheba, and we know the queen of Sheba went to Shlomo HaMelech, so that's around the time of Shlomo HaMelech. The rabbis say, Iyov bimeh kasdim haya. Iyov was in the times of the Kasdim, which is during the time of Nebuchadnezzar. Ve'yesh omrim, and others say, now pay attention to this one, Iyov bimei Yaakov haya. Iyov lived during the days of Yaakov. Iyov lived during the days of Yaakov. And then this opinion says, it even tells us who he went on to marry. Anybody know who his wife was? Iyov's wife? Iyov bimei Yaakov haya, ve'dina bat Yaakov nasa. And he married Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov. And so according to this opinion, Iyov was Yaakov's son-in-law. And Iyov married Dinah. Okay, now this flies in the face of everything we're told as kids, because we're told as kids that Shimon married Dinah. Maybe Shimon married her first and then Iyov married her. Maybe Shimon didn't marry her and Iyov married her. But the Gemara says, in this opinion, Iyov was Dinah's husband. Interesting. That's one Gemara. Now let's do the other Gemara. We're still in the same Masechet. Baba Batra. This page is 91. More names for you. The Gemara says over here, the Amar Hanan Baraba Amar Rav Imed Avraham. You want to know Avraham Avinu's mother's name? It's not written in the Torah. Avraham Avinu's mother's name was Amatlai Bat Kannevo. Amatlai Bat Kannevo. Amatlai. Avraham Avinu's mother's name was Amatlai. If you're Ashkenaz, Amaslai, I guess you would say. And then while we're at it, we'll give you some more people's names. Ime de Haman. You ever wonder who Haman's mother's name was? 10 points for whoever guesses Haman's mother's name. Amatlai. The same name as Abraham's mother. Avraham Avinu and Haman, they shared the same name. Their mothers shared the same name, Amatlai. Avraham Avinu's mother's name was Amatlai bar Kannevo, and Haman's mother's name was Amatlai bar Urbeti. Now, why are we telling you this? The Gemara has more names, if you want to know more names. Ime de David. Anyone know David HaMelech's mother's name? If I have a girl, I've been begging my wife, I want one of my girls to have this name. She won't let me. David, Yishai's wife, David HaMelech's mother's name was Nitzevet Bat Adael, Adele maybe that's where the name Adele came from. And how about this one? The mother of Shimshon, Samson. Know this one? The mother of Shimshon was Selel Ponit. Selel Ponit was Shimshon's mother. The Rashbam says, what are you telling me all this information for? The Gemara actually says, all this information is only l'tshuvat haminim, to answer heretics. Because heretics are going to ask you, what was her mother's name? What was his mother's name? You don't know. The whole thing's false. So here's the answers. In case a heretic asks you questions, you got all the answers. Now the only problem is you have to know how to look in the Gemara, which Gemara it's in. Okay. The Gemara says, V'simanach, and the siman for you. Now, whenever the Gemara says v'simanach means it's called a mnemonic. It's a way to remember something. The v'simanach, and the way to remember, tameh, tameh, tahor, tahor. That's how you can remember Haman and Abraham's mother's name, Amatlai. Tameh, tameh, tahor, tahor. Got it? It's a good trick. What does this mean? So the Farshim say, the Rashbam says, look at Amatlai's mother's name, because we gave you the grandmother's names also. Abraham's mother was Amatlai bat Karnevo, the daughter of Karnevo. Karim is kosher animal. Karim is a kosher animal. And so Amatlai, the kosher one, Abraham, came from Amatlai bat Karnevo. Don't mix up these two ladies. Amatlai bat Karnevo and Amatlai bat Oravti. No, no, carnivore. So how do you know which one is which? Avraham Avinu is the kosher guy, comes from the Karim one, carnivore. And Haman, which is not kosher, comes from Amatlai bat Orvati, which is the Orev, a raven, which is not kosher. So that's a siman. Thank you. The Ben Ish Chai says, what kind of a siman is this? Number one. Number two, tameh, tameh, tahor, tahor. Usually when you give you a siman, it's like a pasuk in the Torah. Just remember this verse in the Torah, and you'll remember the story. There is no verse in the Torah, tameh, tameh, tahor, tahor. There's one, there's tameh, tameh, ikra. When someone's tameh, he says, tameh, tameh, I'm tameh, but tahor, tahor is not found in the Torah. How am I supposed to remember this? Number two, you're flipping it over. First, you're doing the tameh one, and then the tahor one. You just told me Abraham's mother first, and then Haman's mother. And the siman is tameh, tameh, tahor, tahor. So why don't you say tahor, tahor, tameh, tameh, if you want to be in line? All right. So I hope to explain this. The Arizal says, Amatlai, Abraham Avinu's mother, was married to Terah, Abraham Avinu's father. Terah worshipped idols. He was a pagan. Well, Abraham Avinu's mother, although the Gemara is saying she was pure here, it's not fully true. The Arizal tells us then that when Amatlai was nida, when she was impure, she was menstruating, she went to her husband Terah and she said, be with me, even though it was the wrong thing to do. And they were together. And somehow they conceived. And the baby was born. And his name was Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was born out of a bad relationship with his parents. Now, this shouldn't be such a shock, because the greatest people in our history always come from the craziest places. We've done this a million times, right? Why? On the kabbalistic level. So there's a kabbalistic level, there's a non-kabbalistic level. On a kabbalistic level, the Satan has to be tricked. So Hashem always says the Satan, look over there, and I'm going to put greatness over here. Right? So the greatness is always in a place where the Satan's not looking for it. Like David HaMelech was hit. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. David HaMelech's mother, when we talked about Haggad. Remember the Haggad reincarnation? Remember this one? We just did this a couple of weeks ago. The Arizal says that Hagar, the maid of Sarah, came back as the maid of Yishai and fixed it. Remember? Because Hagar became the wife and shoved it in her mistress's face. So how did she make up for it? When David HaMelech's father Yishai said, I'm not going to be with his mother anymore. Finished. I'm done with her. He took the maid. This time the maid went to his mother and said, no, I don't want to be the one. You still be the one. Go sneak in there. And they had David HaMelech. So Hagar, the tikkun for Hagar was in David HaMelech's father's maid. Okay? On a non-Kabbalistic level, greatness is always in the place you can't find it. Don't always look to the big rabbi's family, to the wealthiest person's family. There's greatness under every rock. You can find greatness. And if you come from something that's not special, you can be very special. All the great people we have, right? Mashiach comes from David HaMelech. Look at this. Tamar and Yehuda, his daughter-in-law, Ruth, Lot and his daughters. I mean, it's nonstop in our religion. And so therefore there was a bad relations over here. Amatlai and Terah should not have been together when she was nida, and they gave birth to Avraham Avinu, which is a gift to humanity. Says the Arizal, there had to be tikkun. They had to pay back. Now Hashem was nice to them and gave them an amazing child. So they had an open bill they had to pay. And so Amatlai has to come back into another person, and Terah has to come back into another person. And who are these people? Amatlai comes back as Dina. Dina is the same letters as Nida. For the tikkun of what her great-grandma did, for the unpaid bill, because she got Avraham Avinu, she had to come back. For the one act she did that was wrong, there had to be rectification of one act in her new life that was wrong to pay the bill. So Shechem, he shouldn't have done what he did, but when he took Dinah and he slept with her one time, says the Arizal, that was exactly tikkun for what she did with her husband when she was Nida. And in the Arizal's words is, Shechem took out all the impurity from her with that one act. And all he left behind was holiness. Now, even further than this, it says, Vayaneha, he afflicted her. Vayishkavota, Vayaneha. Interesting to note, the Gemara in Yomah, when it talks about Yom Kippur, the things that we cannot do in Yom Kippur, what does it say in the Torah? Does it say in the Torah that you can't eat or drink on Yom Kippur? No. Does it say in the Torah that you can't wear leather shoes? No. What does it say? Nefesh asher lo te'oneh, ve'initem et nafshotechem. You have to afflict yourself. That's all it says. The same word. Ve'anita. Ve'initem. Afflict. On Yom Kippur, we have to afflict ourselves. What is called affliction? What's affliction? The rabbis tell us what affliction is. Where do they tell us this? In Yomah, Mesechet Yomah, they talk about it. And one of the proofs they bring, one of the things you shouldn't do, one of the things that's called affliction is being with a person, having relations with a person. How do you know? Because it says by Shechem, by Haneha. He afflicted her, and he was with her. So that word, inui, affliction, is something we shouldn't do in Yom Kippur. We shouldn't be with people. We shouldn't have relations with Yom Kippur. The same word. One of the opinions in this Gemara and the Mifrashim says, Vayaneha, he afflicted her. This is going to sound crazy. Vayaneha, Dina wanted to stay with him, and have a longer relationship with him, and he refused. Only one time, I believe it's Rashi in Masechet Yomah, only one time he was with her, and then until she was taken again by her brothers, she wanted to be with him again. Vayaneha, and he afflicted her by withholding from her. He said, no, not yet. Only one time he was with her. That was the inui, according to some people. That was the affliction. Why? Because the Arizal says only one act was required for the tikkun. No. Who is the Gigul of Terah? It says Eov. Eov is the Gigul of Terah. So Terah had to come back as Eov, and they had to get remarried again. And Eov suffered tremendously as a result for what Terah did. And after she was with Shechem and he violated her one time, am I justifying what he did? Absolutely not. But after he did what he did for her tikkun, then they got remarried. Now the daughter of Dinah, which is, to my Ashkenaz friends, forgive me, you all pronounce it wrong. Sorry. It's not Osnat, because there's a ma'amid there. It's Asenat. It's not Osnat. It's Asenat. Asenat was the daughter of Dinah. What is the name Asenat? How do you say rape in Hebrew? The same letters. The victim, the child of the rape relations. Asenat. It's not a coincidence. Now, who was Asenat's father? Was it Eov or was it Shechem? It's not said. It could be either one. She was adopted by Potiphar. According to the Midrash, Yaakov Avinu sent Asenat out because he was afraid she would have a bad name and she would be shunned by the whole family. And so he sent her to be adopted in Egypt. And she was raised there. Yosef HaSadik saw her. Yosef saw something special in her as the daughter of his sister. Okay. V'hirish Yaakov ad Bo'am. Let's address these questions we had.
Could afflicted be pregnant?
No, it's not pregnant. But aneha it could be a number of things. I don't want to get too graphic, but the Gemara says, and Rashi even says, but aneha could be different types of violations. The normal way of violating someone, the not normal way, it could be different words used for different things. But it's not pregnancy, that's for sure. V'hirish Yaakov ad Bo'am. Now let's see what happened over here. Yaakov is quiet. Why are you so quiet? Because he knew instantly, says the Chidah and the Ben Ish Hai. He knew instantly, if this happened to my daughter, why did this happen to my daughter? It's the tikkun of my grandma. V'hirish Yaakov ad Bo'am. The Hatam Sofer says, look at that word betah that we said. Vayavo ala'id betah. The sons came unto the city, betah. Betah is bitahon. Betah is confidence. What were they so confident about? They were confident in that the zichut of their father would protect them. They were not scared in this battle. We come from Yaakov Avinu. Nothing's going to happen to us. Says the Hatam Sofer, Has v'shalom to say, this is what he writes, Halila, Has v'shalom to say that Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov, went out to party with the girls of the land with bad intentions. And he likewise says, Halila v'has, says the Hatam Sofer, Has v'shalom to say that Leah went out in a bad way. We're degrading Leah, that she was a woman who went out. Leah went out to be with her husband. Leah went out l'shem shamayim. So too did Dinah go out l'shem shamayim. Hatam Sofer says she had good intentions as well. Leah, she went out to be with her husband for a mitzvah. Dinah went out to go see the atrocities going on around her, so she can reinforce herself and say, I will never be like this and this and this and that. It's a risky business to go out there and do that. We shouldn't do it. But she went out l'shem shamayim. Lid'ot bivnot ha'aretz. She went out to see the girls of the land. The first letter of each of those words, livnot bivnot ha'aretz, lamed bet and he, hebel, hebel. She went out to see the nonsense. She knew it was nonsense. I want to see the nonsense going on around there. Why does it say betah? They were confident. Says the Hatam Sofer. So was Dinah confident. My grandmother Sarah, was also taken hostage. Nothing happened to her. Rivka was also, nothing happened to her. Sarah twice. I'm the daughter of Yaakov Avinu. Nothing's going to happen to me. We're almost like we're invincible. The brothers also. Abraham went 4 kings, 5 kings. He went battling these people. Nothing happened to him. Nothing can touch this holy family. We're not afraid of anybody. That's why Abu Ala'id Betah. So what? It's just 2 guys against 1,000. But something happened with Dinah. And Yaakov, says the Hatam Sofer, was so shocked. What? How is it possible? This is not the family tradition. Where are the angels protecting us? Where's all the help? It doesn't make any sense. And that's why it says, what did he hear? That she was taken? No. Big deal she was taken. Nothing's going to happen to her if she was taken. That's the story of the family. He heard Asher Timeh. Timeh? She was violated? Like, he actually did it? How is that possible? How am I not living up to the level of Yitzhak and Abraham, my father and my grandfather? Everyone was protected with them. Why are they not protected with me? Something's weird here. Im Lavan Galti. I just got out of 20 years of Lavan's house. He couldn't touch me. I just fought an angel. He couldn't touch me. I just got past Esav and 400 guys. He couldn't touch me. All of a sudden, some Joe Schmo kid takes my daughter and violates her? How is this even possible? He's just shocked. Something else must be going on over here. And then the Harizal says, he says, there must be tikkun. It's tikkun for something. It's tikkun for his grandma. Now, the Ben Ish Hai in a different place, in Gemara Sanhedrin says, just to add one more spice of Kabbalah over here. The Ben Ish Hai says, Leah was the Gilgul of Hava, Eve. Esav was the snake, Satan. Leah was really supposed to be with him. If he would have been on his game and he would have been good, he would have been with Leah and they would have koshered it. Remember, in the Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, the snake, it says, entered Hava, whether spiritually or physically, almost like it had a mental adultery with her. And they had to do tikkun for this. And so the snake and Hava really could have gotten together for a good purpose with Esav and Leah. But when Esav didn't do it and Leah stayed with Yaakov, now Leah's daughter had a shot. Dinah maybe could have changed the snake and helped the snake out. That's why Yaakov is punished for locking her up in a box. She was a piece of Hava. Well, who took her? Well, how does it describe Shechem, the guy who took her? Shechem ben Hamor HaChivi. The Chivi. He wasn't a Chivi. It's not the nationality he was from. Chivi. How do you say snake in Aramaic? Look at Targum in Bereshit. What does Unkulo say for snake? The Nahash. Chivia is a snake. Who took Dinah? The snake. Chivia. Chivia is a snake. Chivia. Look at Unkulos in Bereshit. He says Chivia for Nahash. And we said this a while ago, maybe even 2 years ago, we said, it's pretty ironic that after the sin with the snake, what did Adam name his wife? She was nameless. She didn't have a name. She got her name after the Avon. What did he name her? Hava. Snake. Chivia. After the sin with the snake, she got the name Snake. That's pretty interesting. And so Dinah, who comes for her now? The snake comes to bite her. That's why when the rabbi said he should have given to her the kosher way, you didn't do it, now the snake's going to bite her. Hachivi. Now, I want to talk about the response. This is all very nice. Now we have a little bit of a deep understanding. Amtalia, the mother of Abraham, Terah, she comes back as Dinah, he comes back as Yov, all fine and dandy. What about the response? Shimon and Levi, they go crazy. They wipe everybody out. Now we're thinking about this because all we hear in the news is proportionate response. Israel doesn't respond with proportionality. It has to be even response. That's not proportionate, which is so stupid because it's so childish to compare the number of deceased people. There are 10,000 dead Palestinians and there are only 2,000 dead Jews. That's not proportionate. Okay, so question. If I were to round up 8,000 more Jews and shoot them all and make it 10,000 Jews versus 10,000 Palestinians, would that be kosher? Everything's good? It just has to be 1 for 1. So why don't we just add more dead Jews to the ledger? Do you want more dead Jews or you want less Palestinians? It's so dumb. And who said there has to be proportionality? Number one. Number two, something I've never heard anyone on TV say, and I don't know why nobody says it. Why are we counting the dead? Count the missiles fired. They don't have something called Iron Dome. They're trying to kill way more people than we're trying to kill. We have Iron Dome. They don't. You should count the punches thrown, not the punches landed. If I punched 90% of your punches, you'd still try to do it 90% more times. Why are we counting fatalities when they don't have Iron Dome? If they had Iron Dome, they would also have less. It's so childish. The prisoner exchange is the most insane things of all insane things. And they get away with it. They cry all day long. It's not proportionate. It's not proportionate. It should be 1 for 1. And then they say, by the way, no, one of yours is worth 5 of ours, 3 of ours. And then I hear another word being thrown around from the Geneva Convention, the laws of war, which is pretty comical to me as well. Laws of war. How could there be laws of war? Someone's trying to kill you, the father of a law book. This is collective punishment, they say. Don't you know collective punishment is against the law? And everyone's like, no, it's not collective punishment. Hold on one second. Hold on. Don't agree with the premise. Well, who said collective punishment is bad? Shimon and Levi. That was collective punishment. They destroyed the entire city because someone raped one of their sisters, huh? It's a question how much. The Sefer HaYashar actually says they killed 645 adults and 276 children. Sefer HaYashar says. Sefer HaYashar says, how did this even start? We didn't take the first shot, according to the Sefer HaYashar. The father of Hamor, which is the grandfather of this kid, Shechem, the father of Hamor, his name was Hidkam ben Pered. He had 6 brothers, and when he heard about the deal that we made the truce, he said, I'm never letting my children make this truce, my child and my grandchild make this truce. And he amassed a little brigade, an army, to go kill all Yaakov's kids. Dinah heard about it and sent word, and we got them first before they got us. That's what the Sefer Yashar says. As always. And so who said, what does the Torah think? What is the opinion of the Torah in terms of proportionality in war? In terms of collective punishment being bad? Look what they did. They wiped out an entire city. Because when it comes to war, you're not just responding for what they did. You're scaring them that they should never try to ever do it again. That's why they responded. Ya'aseh is a future tense word. Not tachzona asu et ahoten. Asa singular or asu plural. Tachzona ya'aseh et ahotenu. In the future, should they make our sister a prostitute? It's a future tense word. This will never happen again. You have to scare them that they never even try to do this again. This is not acceptable. Who said proportionality? I want to finish with one Rambam. Rambam, Laws of Kings, in the 9th Perek, in the 14th Halakha. Now, Rambam doesn't usually talk about Torah stories in this Halakha Sefer, it's just law. Non-Jews have the 7 laws of Noah. One of the laws is they have to make courts. Batei They have to make judges and courts in every single city to judge the other 6 laws. So having courts is one of the 7. So there's really 6 laws plus enforce the laws. You ever watch the Andy Griffith show? I'm going back, way back when. I used to watch all these oldies shows when I was a kid. My mom. So for those who watched it, Barney, one of my favorite. I can't remember. He goes to the prisoner. He locks the prisoner up. He says, "We have 2 rules in this prison. Rule number 1: no writing on the walls. Rule number 2: obey all rules." There are 6 laws of Noah, and the 7th law is to enforce the laws. They just lost over 10% of their laws. Ulazhir ta'am, to warn the people. Uben Noach she'abar al achat min sheva mitzvot elu. A ben Noach, a non-Jew, who violates these laws, yiherag b'sayaf, he has to be killed. It's a death penalty for all 6 of their laws. 7. Because of this, nethayebu kol ba'alei shechem hariga, says the Rambam halakha. Because of this, every member in the city of Shechem had to be killed by law. By law. Why? You're standing by and you're not protesting. Then you're an accomplice. Shechem gazal. Shechem kidnapped this girl. He stole her. V'hem ra'u, and they saw. V'yaderu, and they knew. V'lo danu, and they didn't condemn him or judge him. So where's the condemnation from Gaza? Who stood up in Gaza and said, we condemn what happened on October 7th? The rape that happened on October 7th?
Nobody.
Not one person. Read the book. If you stood up, you knew what happened because they recorded it with their own phones. And you didn't stand up, you did it. And so Rambam is telling you, don't quote me here. According to Rambam, every single one of them would be death penalty, according to the laws of the Torah. Proportionality. Collective punishment. Who says the Torah agrees with this? Let's not get convinced by the secular media of what our morals should be. Our morals are rooted in the Torah. If someone comes after one of our girls, we'll wipe out 1,000 of them. Don't touch our girls. And the other part of it is, God forbid a million times, this is the hardest part of all. The hardest part. God forbid a million times over, something bad happens to someone. There is a reason. It might be a deep reason. It doesn't mean it's blame. You're not blamed. Hashem knows somehow what he's doing. Look at the kabbalistic side of it. There could be something going on. Don't ever tell this to someone who lost someone. That's not for you to tell another person. This is only for someone to tell themselves if something happens to them. No one wants to hear this. But if something in our lives, God forbid, not that bad, on a much lesser level, happens, we could be completely innocent. There might be a deeper reason. Hashem is the master. He knows exactly what's going on.
We find out.
We don't find out. We don't find out. We trust. Beta. We have bitachon. God forbid. I'm not giving answers. I'm just asking questions. Hashem should save all of our people. Hashem should bring them all back. The people that were raped and violated, you can't take that back from them. It's already too late. But we can definitely scare them, and we should scare them to never, ever, ever do this again. And it doesn't really matter what other people think. I'm so tired of what America thinks of Israel. Why do we even care? When Yaakov told them, Achartem oti, you have dirtied my reputation, everyone around me. What are they going to say about this family? They responded, what are they going to make our kids prostitutes? Yaakov Avinu doesn't answer them because there is no answer. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Reputation is what reputation is. We should only know good things. We're coming out to Hanukkah. God willing, next week we'll have a lighter concept, a happier concept, Hanukkah. 8 days of Hanukkah, 8 days of light. This is also the 8th parasha. Vayislach is the 8th parasha of the Torah. What's the 8th word of the 8th parasha? The Gemara, I know this Gemara Mordechai. Gemara says, is the Talmid Hacham, you know this, Helen? Is the Talmid Hacham allowed to have ga'ava? Are you allowed to have arrogance, gaiva? Uncle Jack, I said this in shul, no? Is the Talmid Hacham allowed to have ga'ava? So the Gemara says a little bit. How much? Sheminit of a sheminit. An eighth of an eighth. That's a 1/64th of the ga'ava. It says, I believe the Vilna Gaon. It doesn't mean an eighth of an eighth. It means go to the 8th parasha and read the 8th word. Vayislach, the 8th word is katonti. Not the 8th word, the 8th pasuk. The 8th word of the 8th pasuk, something like this. Katonti mikol hasadim. I am small. Even when you have ga'ava, it's only because katonti. I don't really deserve it. It's all a gift from Hashem. I myself am small. We should all be big though. Have a great Hanukkah, which starts Thursday night. Next week, a happier topic. Everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you for coming. Shavua Tov. Shavua